I hit start recording, so do whatever you want whenever.
All right. Aren't what you should ask me? If we're gonna do an introduction, you should ask
Okay.
me to
Okay,
introduce
fine.
myself.
Fine. Uh, so Dolphin, what's your name?
You definitely did that on purpose. Hi, so I'm Dolphin. I play engineer in Invite. Last season was my first season of Invite. I played on the yacht club. I led the yacht club actually. I believe that was my 5th season of Highlander so far, and I'm now in my 6th in Advanced. Today we're going to be reviewing, or I'm going to be reviewing one of my demos and ideally giving some insight on why I do what I do and maybe seeing some mistakes that I make and hoping to share that insight with everyone on the channel.
I'm Maven. You guys know me from other content on the channel. I am going to be essentially joining, hopping along on the ride, and asking him questions as well as like stuff for clarification so everyone can understand what he's talking about, even new players. So hopefully this review will be a good intro to a lot of upcoming engineer players, as well as interesting to a lot of higher up engineer players, so they have stuff that they can talk about and improve and take notes on during this. And you said that this was your very first match as an invite
Yes,
engineer, correct?
I selected this demo specifically because it is from week 1 Vigil from season 9, my first season of Invite. So I'm hoping that while I will play to the level that, an invite engineer entails, we'll still be able to see me make plenty of mistakes that I'll be able to point out and maybe explain what I could have done better.
We're in setup here, so I guess there isn't too much for you to do on defense setup. But is there anything that you do on this part?
On offense setup, a lot of times the yacht club would have team meetings up at the top. So, everyone would come up here where I am right now, and we'd all look at the map. And, like Whale Mart or DT would point out places on the map that we were going to push in. Because it is important to have your whole team coordinated, you know what I mean? Another cool thing about this spawn is that there's a box, and I'm not looking at it, but a box behind me that you can fit in if you crouch down. So, sometimes the whole team, all 9 players, can crouch down and get on that box, and it's a pre-game ritual, gives you good luck. So out of blue spawn, Engineer's primary goal on payload offense is to push the cart, and that's because there's not really anyone else that they want to dedicate to it besides Scout, which puts the payload at its max speed at 3. You'll notice that I looked at the door that I walked out of, and that's to check for crit sticky traps. There were none, they were all in the cart, so I waited till those were detonated to actually start pushing the cart. And you can see that I see those traps on the left. I call that out to my team and then, take them out.
Are there like other spots that you commonly look at, or are those like the major ones that you're looking for in this map?
So the number one spot that you'll find sticky traps, well, what most teams will do is that most red teams will take their med out of spawn initially on crits, build a crits up with the increased overcharge rate build that pregame gives you, and then lay like crit sticky traps outside of blue spawn in the hopes that they can catch someone and get a little more time on first. And then with that time, they can still take their med back to spawn, get the normal medigun, and then get a normal Uber. If I did see any crit sticks on like the door that I walked out of, I would also often check the shack that's behind you with the hose. Yeah, you can't see it behind the rock, but there's often a lot of sticks there, sticks above all the spawn doors. Sometimes there'll be sticks like inside that hall to your left.
Oh yeah, over here.
Yeah, right there. And sometimes there can be some up on the rock that's up to your right.
Up there.
Up there, and also up on the fence to catch people that are walking off Pride. You can also...
Pride being this area, right?
Yes, Pride is that small little cliff. It's not really called hill because hill is on the second point, but it is just kind of a hill area. And then as you walk off of Pride on the other side, the red side, there's also sometimes going to be sticks there. So those are a lot of the spots that sticks can be, but they can be anywhere.
Makes
also
sense.
that bush that's on the right, the other bush.
That bush over there?
Yeah.
Hey, let's keep going.
So there, you kind of anticipate on Vigil first, it's really easy to spam the cart guys. So I'm anticipating for them to spam me out, or maybe for me to even get sniped. And so I saw that soldier try to clear off the cart, so I instinctively wanted to surf out to, instead of die by getting juggled in the double shot, to get out, heal up, and then get back on the cart. But luckily my team was able to push him out before I could even get back in. So on second offense, what my team generally, but I believe what my team wants to do here is that they want me to help my sniper get to a good position on hill, and from there he can lock off a lot of space when my combo tries to get a good Uber. Once the cart is at a spot where it can't really be pushed anymore, like right now the cart is at the mouth of the tunnel. So if I try to play with my scout to push it now, we will just get mauled. We won't really be able to get anything out of it. I step up to reset it, but that's about it. So right now my combo is taking an Uber exchange on the hill, and I need to protect my sniper because otherwise he is going to get stabbed. It's important that the sniper stays up here because he's able to contest the other sniper because he's trying to do the same thing, lock off hill for his combo.
One question I have is there any like specific method of the madness of where you're placing your mini sentries?
Mini sentry placement is, I mean, it's I don't want to say like, oh, it's complex because well, that's just my bad. I wanted to take space with my sniper because most of my combo was dead, but unfortunately I did eat a pipe. I could have gotten a buff before walking out there, but I didn't. So when you place a mini sentry, and this goes for sentries too, you generally just want something that will deny people from walking forward. You don't really want to place it somewhere where anyone can see it immediately, because if you place it right in front of someone, oh wow, that's if I juked me. If you just place it right in front of like a soldier or something, then, or really in front of any class, they're just going to shoot it while it's low health, and then it's dead, and now you're down 100 metal, and you just wasted time you could have spent on a shotgun shot.
Makes sense.
That was a pretty unfortunate fight. I wanted to get on the cart and just like kind of chaos on the cart because it was so close to getting capped. But unfortunately they already have 4 on there, so I backed up, and by the time I was able to get to somewhere else, my whole team was dead and I just kind of died alone. So here, again, I want to get my sniper into position for my combo. My heavy is helping me. Generally, spies want to decloak, yeah. So here I'm calling the spy for my team so that they can help deal with him before he gets my medic. Generally, spies will either decloak behind near those boxes like you saw Shido do, or they will decloak on the stairs and walk up to you to try to catch your sniper. It's really easy for him to get the sniper if no one's protecting him, but I am there, so he's kind of unable to do that. Or at least, hopefully, he's unable to do that.
Yeah, I see
so
you
right
doing
now,
a lot of spy checking as well.
Yeah, that's a core tenet of engineer is that you're kind of just an extra body, especially on offense, because there's not a lot of ground that needs to be covered most of the time. So you spend a lot of time just doing kind of odd jobs that the rest of your team is too busy to do. So you'll see me just like sitting around pushing the cart because you're the least useful class elsewhere. And that's not to say that you have no role. You still have an important role besides just pushing the cart. But that is something that needs to get done, and you're a good class to do it along with your scout. A lot of times, and you mentioned mini placement earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am just dropping down a mini for the purpose of having it up. Having a mini up is generally always going to be better than not having one up because it will stop like a scout from just running out of nowhere. And especially if you're on the payload, you're going to be getting constant metal off the cart. So there's not really any reason that you wouldn't just drop a mini for just anywhere. So, you don't really intend, or sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna point out is I noticed back there that you had a mini up, and then you immediately put up another mini. Do you have one of those binds that like automatically destroys the previous one?
Yes, I do. That's one of my favorite. That's probably my favorite part of my config, and I don't think I could play engineer without it. I have a series of binds that when you press them, they immediately detonate a building if it's already up, and then get another one out of the toolbox before even like pulling up the PDA. So like if I have a mini up and I press on my mouse 3 button, my mouse wheel, I will instantly det my sentry gun, and then I'll be holding a toolbox that's holding another sentry gun. And it's so useful. I have my sentry bound to mouse wheel, my dispenser bound to Q, and then my teleporter entrance is on 4 and the exit's on 5.
Yeah, that's really smart. Being able to have easy access, especially to your mini sentries, being able to just hit them with your mouse wheel. The one thing I can see people worrying about, especially with it being on your mouse wheel, is like accidentally hitting it. Was that a habit you had to overcome?
With pressing on my mouse wheel is pretty hard to press, so that's the one that I don't press accidentally. When I was first learning, I'd often press like 4 accidentally when I wanted to hit 5, or I'd sometimes fat finger Q when I was trying to press A or W. But over time, that's kind of faded away. One of the problems that I like rarely run into, but I will do it, is that out of raw habit, I'll like run up to a spot where my like teleporter exit already is. It's like level 3. And because I like instinctively want to walk to that spot and place down a teleporter exit, I'll like hit 5 and destroy it and place a new one for no reason. If I would often watch old Wax demos where he would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it seems like a very useful bind overall, though.
Oh, absolutely. It saves me so much time and energy. It saved my life more times than I can count because it saves so much time over trying to detonate and then rebuild something.
So what's happening here? Are you just pushing the cart?
Right now, I just want to push the cart. What engineer wants to do here, or at least what I want to do here, based on the way that my team is playing, is that ideally I will get a teleporter and maybe a dispenser up. But then I just want to hang out and choke where the cart is about to be pushed through and just have pressure on it. On Vigil last, what my team wants to do is they want to get in the big door, which is just off the cliff. And when they are in there, they can exert a ton of pressure with my sniper or even like demo trying to spam stickies through the big door, because that's a sightline that they can see the whole red team from. So when they are exerting that pressure, I want to be able to get in and pressure the cart immediately once it's clear that the red is too busy to shoot me or too dead to shoot me.
Oh, it looks like you're going back to put down your teleporter.
Right now, yeah, I'm just walking back to spawn to...
Oh, you're invisible.
Oh well. Walking back to spawn to place the teleporter entrance is fine here. There's obviously not a push going on. This is usually what people will refer to as downtime. It looks like a push is just starting once I get back, and I am here to get cart time. Looks like we have a great exchange going. I'm backing up because right now... So what just happened is an Uber exchange. Both teams have an Uber that they use. And an important concept about Uber exchanges that a lot of new players don't understand is that there's no real reason that people that aren't like shiny and Ubered want to be in. Like, you want to be out of the Uber. You want to be like hiding. Because the most important part of the Uber is the post-Uber. After the Uber exchange ends, you want your whole team to flood in, because ideally your Uber will last just a little longer than theirs. And at that point, all 9 players want to collapse in and do as much damage as possible while they still have shiny players. And that way you'll be able to win the fight more consistently. That's why I backed up into big door there while the Ubers came out, instead of trying to like push for the cart or shoot other players, because there was too much risk that I would just get killed by a shiny man.
Does that make sense? That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to shoot at the people who are invincible.
Yeah.
And now you're doing the fancy Uncle Dane rollout?
I don't believe that you need it for Vigil, but I just do it anyway. You might notice that the exit is in a little kind of wacky spot, The reason for that is that my heavy can actually stand on that and head glitch on the roof to the left. Like he can head glitch on the blue players if they walk up the hill. It's kind of a cheese strat, but I just kind of do it because there's nowhere else to put that exit.
For reference, oh wait, okay, I was gonna explain head glitching, but like, what are you doing now with your gun being so far back? It's not even on first.
Vigil on first, and this is a pretty meta concept. Vigil on first is very, very throwaway, which means that it's extremely hard for red to get any decent amount of time off of this this particular point first. You're never really gonna hard hold it. Like, you're not gonna milk like 3 or 4 minutes off of first, because the average time for Vigil is, I think, only 7 minutes, and most of that time is going to be on second and fourth, and sometimes third, but mostly second and fourth. First is extremely hard to hold, much like Swiftwater, and as a result, the primary goal of first is to just see if you can get any huge picks, but primarily just to get out safely to second for a strong second hold. The reason that my gun is so far back is that putting it farther forward introduces kind of an unnecessary risk to it for very little reward. I'm not really ever going to get anything out of having my sentry forward wrangling on the cart. The biggest issue is that, like, a spy can sap it and then the soldier could maybe bomb it. And, you know, that then you're like risking your second hold, which is the main hold that you really want to get time on. So this gun is obviously a lot safer, but another thing about it is that what some teams will do is that they'll send their soldier through tunnel to bomb up the hill and try to get a med drop or a med force, so that they'll have Uber ahead to push in a second. So this gun being so passive solves both of those problems. It'll deny any bombers like a soldier or a demo and sometimes a spy, and it is also extremely safe to get out to second once my team decides to back up. If a soldier does bomb in and land on my medic, I can still wrangle him at the base of the hill. And my dispenser is nearby, so if my demo needs ammo or my medic needs to heal up, it's right there for them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're playing the long con instead of trying to get DPM right away.
The sentry gun is not really intended for damage at all. The biggest thing that you just want to do is deny space and hold space for your combo.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Preventative and keeping your team alive.
But beyond that, you're not going to see much on a second. Just a lot of spy checking. Nothing else to do right now. You can see that my heavy came at a cave there, or a tunnel. And that's also because he was playing there in case a soldier was to bomb in and try to walk through.
Is there any reason that you're still on the Eureka effect instead of a different wrench?
There's not much reason to use any wrench except for like the Jag or the Eureka effect, in my opinion, and the Gunslinger, obviously, but that's different. Well, the Eureka effect does have the downside of building your gun. No, that was my mistake. I wasn't prepared for them to start spamming pipes, so I wasn't wrangling or tanking my gun, so it unfortunately did die. While the Eureka effect does introduce some problems, none are big enough to really outdo the positives that you can sometimes get out of being able to teleport.
Oh, well, I was gonna say that looked like that went really well, but then...
That did go really well. We killed 3 of them, but unfortunately their demo was still in position. And here,
their
I suppose
demo
it's
did
possible
die
that it's
for
not
it.
being called that the demo's about to spam it, because I'm sure if he was, I would be tanking a little better. At least I would like to think so. But, yeah, what just happened is the spy and the soldier attempted to just coordinate on the gun. So the spy wants to sap it and the soldier wants to come in and... Ooh, they really want that gun. The spy wants to sap it, followed by the soldier bombing in and getting it. Because once they get the gun, the push is made a lot easier for them. and you'll see that like my gun is just getting shredded, and that's the number one reason why. It's a big,
And now it
especially in
looks like
higher
you're
levels.
you're building back here preventatively because you know they're gonna spam.
Right
that
now,
way.
I mean, they still have players in. Like I mentioned earlier, if you place a sentry gun somewhere where people are already shooting, it's just gonna die instantly.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh. You should cut that bit out. Yeah, I missed a lot on that spy, and I can actually remember this now that I'm seeing it in front of me. I I didn't kill that spy fast enough, and he did manage to get my medic, which is pretty unfortunate. I guess this was my first invite match, so I'll just chalk it up to my nerves getting the best of me and me missing my shots. But it's just a lesson in just remember to prioritize your aim, because it's the most important tool you have.
Yeah. And I want to point something out that you just did there. You technically did it earlier, but just because there's not much happening. But you're going back to spawn and you're just like immediately teleporting back to where you were. I want to
Yes.
point out that that's a resupplying or just like changing your loadout with a bind. Often called
Yes, that's
banny binding.
the banny bind, yeah.
I think that's
Seriously.
a hilarious term. Sorry.
Think so?
Oh no.
Fine. Again, Shido's just getting the best of me. You probably saw that I was just kind of spamming rockets up at the top right, and that's because a couple of reasons. When there's no one in my sentry's line of sight, then there's no reason for me to be just like wrangling at nothing. So what I want to do is check for spy, and the spy was trying to get in through top right, and I was to an extent denying him from getting in up till then when I kind of tunnel visioned on the cart, which gave him ample time to decloak, walk in, and stab me. Spy checking with the Wrangler is a little less consistent with spy checking than spy checking with the shotgun, but one of the benefits of the Wrangler is that it has rockets, which obviously if you land them even near the spy, he'll get shimmered or even killed instantly. Wrangling a spy is often enough to kill him immediately. Sometimes, like if he's running to sap your gun and you quickly pull the Wrangler and shoot a rocket at him, he'll just gib right in front of you, which is a nice defense. And even if you miss, you can pull your shotgun and kill him. One thing that some newer engineers might not understand is why I'm on the shotgun as opposed to the rescue ranger. Generally, at higher levels, it's unlikely that my gun will be going down, or rather, ideally my gun will not be going down unless one, I'm dead, or two, it's being sapped and coordinated on, which is one of the things that that spy and soldier was attempting earlier. And when my gun is sapped, obviously I need to be hitting it with the wrench, which is why I'm just want to use my wrench to fix it anyway, because there's not really much reason not to. If my gun is being spammed relentlessly, I am usually trying to kite off a lot of the explosive damage by wrangling and moving it in and away from my sentry gun as it gets spammed to preserve my own life while still trying to maintain my gun. The shotgun is extremely valuable for spy checking and just on the off chance that you do need to shotgun something, which comes in very useful. Like if a soldier bombs in and does get my sentry gun, he spent all of his rockets, so he won't have time to reload and kill me. He'll just get shotgunned down as soon as he lands, and then I'll have time to build another gun, ideally.
Makes sense. What about the teleporting sentry feature part of it?
Teleporting sentry.
The rescue ranger.
The rescue ranger, that can be extremely useful, and that's the primary reason that engineers will run the rescue ranger. For Vigil, I am not necessarily planning to get my gun out of anything hero style. On second, it's very often that you will die with your gun, and while sometimes you will get out, usually you'll have enough forewarning on that you'll be able to just pick up your gun and walk all the way out. On third, if you wanted to get out with your gun, you can pick it up and walk into your spawn before they cap. And through that, you're completely safe while taking your gun out anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense. Hey, yeah, thank you. I was also gonna question the choice of switching to gunslinger on last here.
So Catalyst bombed in and took out my gun while I was trying to build it up. So, and then my team decided to use Uber, and I assume what happened is either they... Ray's at 86, I'm not sure if she just used or if they're about to use. But my med got forced, and because I didn't have a great view of the fight, I likely assumed that blue team was chaosing, like, near last. So the reason that I swapped to Gunslinger is because, you know, if they're pushing in, I'm not going to have the time or space to build a gun anyway. So I might as well just take the 25 extra health and maybe, like, the speed to build a mini to try and DM people around the point and maybe take some space on the flank. Right now I'm probably catching Cheeto out because I'm aggressive, trying to make space instead of trying to, you know, build a gun at spawn. If it comes up again, you'll likely see me do this on, like, last resort pushes too, where they're pushing in and my team just has to try to chaos on the point after my gun dies.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Looping back to what you were saying earlier, where there's no point to have a gun where it's going to get shot immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And you were right, you did catch Cheeto out.
So now I'm placing buildings, and then I'm probably going to go back to spawn and switch back to a wrench. Yeah. For payload, I always have, I believe, 4 loadouts ready to swap to, depending on which part of the map we're on. And yeah, the reason that I'm using Banny Binds, you mentioned it earlier, but I didn't actually respond, is that it allows me to resup and get 200 metal faster than walking all the way back to the cabinet. So you see that, like, my gun dies, now blue wants to push in and finish the push. So I'm swapping to Gunslinger and just sacking for the cart to try to get in some extra time. Because this is a last resort push. Realistically, red had no chance of winning there, since blue did push in with, I think, full ad. So I ended up just, after my gun died, there was no reason to try to stick on a wrench. I just went back, swapped off, and then tried to get a little more time off the cart.
Yeah, one thing I do want to ask is that you built a teleporter on last?
I think that was mostly out of habit more than necessity. Building a teleporter exit right there allows your heavy to, in some scenarios, I remember doing this on one version of Vigil. They might have taken it out on this one, but your heavy can stand there, rev up, and head glitch over that little ledge and fight people that are on that platform that you're looking up on the flank, which is why that's there. There's not really any reason not to build it if you have the metal, and I just kind of did it out of habit more than, like I said, necessity.
Makes sense. I also want to point out, I was going to mention it earlier, but we got distracted. Head glitching is just the concept of the fact that bullets come out of your face, and so if your face is tall enough to reach over something, you can actually shoot from your face. It's most useful on, like, heavy and sniper. The fact that you can shoot from your eyeballs instead of shooting
keeps
from
your
where the gun
hitbox
actually
almost
is.
entirely concealed, while you can do the full extent of damage to anyone that's passing by you.
Yeah, extremely useful to know head glitching spots, especially on, like I was saying, heavy sniper and, in your case, engineer, because you can put teleporters to help them. Yeah, let's watch the last 2 seconds. Oh boy. Is there any real reason to even bother making the effort for the rollout if you're just gonna leave it back and not have it be actively
Yes,
in view?
because if you try to place it on second, the spy will decloak on you while you're completely alone and kill you. Or at least she'll have a chance at killing you. If you're playing forward like this and still maintaining a gun, it's very difficult for him to actually do anything to you since your combo's right there.
Oh, there's the soldier you were talking about. Good thing you got
There's
that
a
sentry there.
soldier. I had the sentry there, and also my combo was getting ready to back out, so he stood no chance.
But that answered the question, but also, is there any reason to bother getting your level 3 up before the round starts, essentially, is my main point.
I mean, you want to have a level 3 up so that you can have 200 metal before anything happens and all your buildings. Because you want, I mean, obviously you want to have as many resources available to you as possible. There's no reason not to.
That makes sense.
If you want it to be really technical, there might be advantages to just having a level 2 on first at 175 upgrade rate progress, and then upgrading it to level 3 once you get to second, because then it will be active on level 2 faster than if it were level 3 already. And then you can upgrade it as long as it's safe and they're not immediately sacking in. So right now you can see Shido is sitting on the cliff. Yeah, well, he was he was hiding behind that wall on the cliff, but luckily he did get spy checked by Blank, and I was able to help him dispatch the spy with a rocket. So it's called the Soldier Bombed In. I didn't see him myself, but I want to wrangle as soon as possible because having damage resistance is going to be really helpful. I know that the soldier wants to shoot my gun, and probably the demo wants to shoot my gun as well. So having as much damage resist as possible is good. My team tried to take out the spy before he got a sap on, and they did take him out, but once he got the sap on, it takes a lot of time for me to get it fixed up. Since, I have to hit it twice before I can even begin repairing it. So they had enough time to, I think, land a pipe on the gun and take it out before I could do anything.
I think it was actually a heavy.
Was it a heavy? Yeah, but regardless, that's the number one way that you'll see your gun die, at least in higher levels. And that's the reason that I don't bother trying to use the Rescue Ranger for repairs.
And in that case, you didn't banny bind.
Yes, if you banny bind with Frontier Justice crits, you will lose them. Oh, I forgot about this bit. Can you rewind?
Yeah.
This is, I guess, a game sense bit.
Well, to start off, the reason that I'm on Frontier Justice here is that there's no reason not to. On payload defense, it's extremely bad if you're in a scenario where you need all 6 shotgun shots. 3 should usually be more than enough to take out a spy, as long as you're aiming well, which ideally you will be. So on second, once my kill gets a gun or a kill or an assist, I'm already switching off to Frontier Justice. So right now, oh, the stream is in such a bad quality for me. Right now, I want to use the metal that is right behind my gun to continue upgrading it. But I noticed that the metal has actually been taken. So there's no reason for my team to be far enough back to ever take that metal. And it takes 10 seconds for it to respawn. We just got to third, so it's extremely unlikely that anyone on my team took that ammo, but it's very useful for the spy when he's passing behind. I know that there's no way that the spy can really get on me, or rather, there's no reason that he would go from the white room up to the balcony to then try to fight me. He, in fact, crossed from the white room and got into that spawn staircase to decloak on my combo. I immediately went to check that staircase, and I did catch the spy decloaking. If I hadn't, I probably would have started spy checking with my wrench or something to preserve my crit. But it's just a case of knowing what my team is doing and why to catch out the spy there. Taken ammo packs are often a really good indicator of a spy having been there very recently. If your team would not have been the ones to take it. Like, there's no teammates nearby at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna have to update my spy gameplay.
A tip for... Ooh, wow, I got rolled. It looked like Nick angled a pipe just over my gun and directly into me, and it's probable that even if he did hit my gun, that Shido would have decloaked on me while I was repairing my gun and gotten me anyway. That was a good play. That was a good play by them. I probably could have played that better either by intentionally staying above 100 health by just yelling at my medic, because then I would have survived that pipe, or by playing a little farther away from my gun. One thing that I like to do on Engineer is that I'll stand a little away from my gun, and then I'll click with the wrench, and then during the swing, I'll walk towards it just so that when the wrench connects, I'm close enough to the gun to actually hit it. And then I can back up again, and it's a good way of kiting out as much explosive damage as possible.
What were you gonna say before you got interrupted by dying?
Tip for spies, pick up the ammo packs that dead players drop instead of the packs that are constantly respawning, because it's less noticeable when they disappear. Also, gibs from destroyed buildings are a big boon. So here I'm switching to my JAG loadout because it'll help me get the gun up faster, and I don't have anything to maintain, so there's no reason not to be on JAG.
Yeah, earlier you said that here's a good example. You only ever run the JAG in the Eureka effect?
I'm running the wrench because I think it looks cooler.
Is that really the only reason?
Yeah, I believe Scratchy... Scratchy doesn't play anymore, I don't think. But Scratchy runs the hammer not because it's good, but because it looks funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, saying the Eureka effect is the quote the best is technically correct, but in the like nerdiest way possible. She is behind me, I should be checking. I'm gonna die here and I deserve it. Yeah. That's something that's just a noob move. When you are engineer, and especially when you're not near your combo, there's no reason not to just be turning around constantly. The reason that I was so tunnel visioned on Big Door is that I was anticipating the sniper to peek from the left side, and engineer is very good at denying him while he has a gun up. But unfortunately, I wasn't spy checking. That's probably... I don't just want to blame this on inexperience, but I do think that just because this was my first match, I was probably too nervous and not thinking. It only takes, I think 1.5 seconds for a spy to decloak, and I have my comms up louder than my game, so I can't really hear spies when they decloak right next to me. Typically, I am just turning around every 2 seconds when I'm playing engineer, and especially when I'm alone, but there I just tunnel visioned, and I definitely did deserve to die for that.
Is there anything special that you're going to be doing because it's only 5 minutes, or are you just going to continue doing what you have done?
It's probably just going to be more of the same.
The main reason I ask that is, like, is there any risk plays that you normally wouldn't go for, or anything like that, because it's, like, high reward?
I personally, on this map, no, I don't think so. There's not really anything, like, crazy wild that engineer can do in general. So here I'm waiting for 4 pipes to pass because obviously once the demo shoots all 4 pipes in his clip, he has to back up and reload. But in the downtime that I'm pushing the cart, I'm looking for spy to try to protect my sniper. You can see the spy looking for something behind us right now. What am I doing here? Oh, the reason that I walked back to spawn there is that my medic was walking out of spawn and I didn't know if anyone else was with him. If there was no one else with him, it's likely that my spy had decloaked and tried to just kill off my medic while he was alone walking out to the rest of his team.
So is there any reason that you're, like, alone off to the side here, or is it just, like...
Right now I'm holding house in preparation for my sniper to come here. Again, this is a point where you just want to kind of babysit your sniper, get him into the position that you want him to be in. Kind of be his spotter. So right now I'm holding it for him. He did just die to, I think, a pipe. But I, as the engineer, don't have anywhere else to be, so I'm just hanging out. I think maybe... Oh, my team wants to exchange anyway since they don't have much time. So I'm trying to stay in and play with them. Right, so here's me, again, checking for the, my sniper comes in, so I know spy is likely lurking nearby, calling his location and looking for a stab. So I just start spy checking the corners, and I do get fortunate enough to catch him, and if scout runs up behind, he gets taken out.
That kill did not look intentional. I'm gonna have to look through that in the editing process, but it looked like he just jumped in front of the sniper.
definitely looked I think that he would have died before getting anything anyway, but I do think that he just took a shot for his team.
So is there any reason you're on the cart now, even though the soldier's there? Oh, that's
Right now
why.
I'm telling my soldier to fuck off.
Oh,
There's
no.
no need for him to be on the cart here. He is a more impactful class once he's in. It's possible that he was getting ammo or just pushing it till I got there. One big thing about pushing the third point on Vigil is that once this cart gets up that hill that rolls the cart back, it's extremely difficult for a red team to continue holding third. So you see that like they're trying to get in right as soon as the cart's about to get all the way past that hill. After that, it's possible for the blue team to just sack like 7 of their teammates besides like the scout and the medic to get it up the hill, and there's almost nothing that red team can do about that. So once we do get it up the hill, then we are able to just take it for free. Red team is getting out or dead. Right now, my team is rolling in because there's no sniper to stop them, and we're lucky enough to get a med pick on Ray. So it's looking like this will be the final push. Or no, wait, is Bonesaw dead or is that an Uber count? The stream is too low quality for me to tell.
Oh, sorry about that.
Not your fault, Discord sucks sometimes.
Shido and Kung Fu Kenny are both dead right now.
No. I lose Highlander's Uber count.
Oh, okay.
Oh, either way.
Oh, almost has. Sorry, I misunderstood what you were
So
asking
yeah,
for.
now we have now we have
they
big ad on Ray, and we want to use it in probably through Big Door to take a ton of space. Yeah, okay, looks like we're using it right now. Didn't really see it much, so I was just waiting for all the space so that I could push in. Right now I'm still spy checking. Spy is one of the few classes that can actually clutch this out by just getting a big chain stab on the cart. So I'm trying to deny him because Big Door is such a great place for a spy to come in because there's a crevice for him to decloak and walk in directly on top of the cart and get everyone that's pushing it, which might give him his team just enough space to re-push the cart and win. Fortunately, we did close that round out. I've been Dolphin. Thank you, Maven, for giving me this opportunity to talk on the RGL channel. I hope this has been at least a little insight into the mind of an actual invite engineer. And if you're interested in learning more about engineer, you can feel free to join engineer.tf, and just ping June. Ask her for a demo review. She will talk to you until 2 a.m. Feel free to review any demos of mine or any other invite engineers, of which engineer.tf, the website, is a great source of. I'd like to give a shout out to Ghost, Grin, DT, Whalemart, Figsy, Rona, and the Bulldozer, in all caps.